Welcome on Butthurt Developer channel. My name is Dima and I'm working on a large music portal through which I hope to solve the problems of music industry that I have noticed for years as an active participant in concerts and festivals. And today I will talk about the best pattern for backend work that I have encountered in over 10 years of development experience. And its very cool implementation in Laravel. Sorry, but I have to repeat, Russia is an aggressor country, a terrorist country. Russians live in a shit and they want to make the whole world live in a shit like them. Therefore, please do not fall for Russian propaganda and help Ukraine. Thank you. And I begin. If you are not new to development, you have probably already heard and participated in holy wars about how to write code. Skinny controller, fat model, or vice versa. You might have even concluded that you need to develop a service layer for your project. And of course, the repository layer can't do without it, because we develop onions, need more layers. And of course I understand why these layers are needed. I understand the problems they solve, but I also understand the problems they create. When designing a new layer of code, the developers are silent about the fact that it should be covered by tests, and everything that uses the service must be covered by tests, and so on each layer. But we're still struggling with code duplication. Don't repeat yourself. I will not return to the subject of layer again. You can try to change my mind, but first understand that object relation mapping is already a layer of abstraction over data. But in fact, I would be writing the service layer right now if one day I did not come across a pattern of action or control. The idea of the pattern is simple. One action class. In practice, this is a real dream. This is don't repeat yourself at max. Single responsibility principle at high. Not simple one class isolate one action. One action isolate in one class. Let's say we have to create user. By HTML form on the page. We create one action. Next one, administrator should create user by admin panel. We use this one action. Someone bring information about new user on a flash drive. We use this action. Of course there are an exception, but in absolute majority of tasks it will work like this. Action as small as a bonus. If your action is big, think about whether it does exactly one action, and you will almost never see the Git conflicts when writing actions. This is not a big controller or not a large service where all team work at the same time. Do you know how easy it is to test actions? Very easy. As you have already understood, I am a fan of actions. I haven't seen any backend solution better yet, so I highly recommend you to try it for a pet project or for project from scratch. If you don't like it, merge all code in one controller and give me a dislike. Laravel itself hints at its approach by offering single action controllers. Of course you can try them, but I recommended a ready-made package, Laravel Actions. It is very easy to install. As bonus is a package that generates an IDE helper files for action classes. This package is not supported, so there may be a problem with configuration. Don't worry if you haven't installed it. It doesn't help too much. There are only 4 traits inside. But if all okay, please don't forget to add IDE helper action file to git ignore, to docker ignore, and of course to composer post update and post install hooks. I made a separated video about IDE helper. And yeah, IDE helper have an error if app actions directory do not exist. So I create it and add git keep file. Simple command php artisan make action and action name some action for my case. By default generate in app action directory. One very small class, not extend anything, one simple function handler, and use trait as action. All magic inside as action trait. If you go inside you can see 6 subtraits: AsObject, AsController, AsListener, AsJob, AsCommand and AsFake. If we not describe some specific function, all this trait use handle function as entry point. I will demonstrate all behaviors of action, and for demonstrate controller I am going to create root. Go to core roots app root file and add a simple root get demo action and not controller but action. App action some action class. In handler function return 111 just for test. Go to app demo action and we can see 111. All good, all works, action works. As I say, we have a specific functions for controller function name AsController. For demonstration, I will return handler from handle function and controller from AsController. Simple refresh browser and we see controller string. So AsController function work, handler do not run. One rule here, all your specific function should run handle function. If not, your class do more than one action. Please think about separate it. So actions works as controllers. As bonus, if you work with Blade, they can return different answers for a different requests. Very useful. Next one, for demonstration, work as object. I will create another action, call some another action, add one trait, use as action, and handler function return object string. Go back to first action and from function AsController return some another action, run function. Reload page and I see object string. Function run have one disadvantage. If you're using PHP 8 named attributes, run do not see it. If you don't use named attribute, please start. It's very comfortable, it's very useful and make your code much more readable. So for use named attribute inside action, just use action make function and handle function from it, like named property inside my code. Next behavior as event listener. Inside parameter we should get event. I create some test event, and here we should add our action to event listener. I will add it on app service provider. For example, event listen and event name and action separated by comma. Event after discover do not work from action, sorry. Inside action I will call log debug with some text and dispatch event from controller method. So refresh page, go to log viewer. About log viewer I talk in some video, and yeah, log debug. Next behavior as job. Simple another action, dispatch function not run, add trait as job and function as job to another action plus. Rewrite page, go to horizon and see one successful job. Next one, AsCommand. Very easy, public properties, signature, command description and command help. Parameter AsCommand, we can get command facade, for example command info AsCommand, but we have to registrate command. Always registrate command only from console, and in my example inside app service provider using action helper function that very easy registrate our command from app actions directory by default. So go to terminal, php artisan list, here our some command, and if I call php artisan some command, I see AsCommand info message. And the last one, for testing use trait AsFake. It allow your action easy create mocks and add function for work with mocks. Should run once, should run twice, and etc. or should not run. Of course you can use full power of mocks inside Laravel or PHP unit. You can test with parameter, you can mock answer and etc. and etc. And one simple tips for testing: if you use AsController and action are simple, do not call another action, just write a feature test and it's all. It's enough. But if action is complex, that means action call another actions. Of course, write feature test if you need it, but inside feature test, check only access and answer and make unit test where run simple test with all parameters what you need. And if you test 100% of actions, I'm going to test 100% of actions. We should not test another action result. We should mock it, check expected parameter and mock some result. It's very useful. And because I'm using modules structure, all actions I'm going to generate inside module. So I go to config module config, disallow generating controllers, but allow generating actions. And go to stub file, change stub for generate action as controller by default. My personal recommendation, do not use trait as action, please cherry pick. It allows you to limit an action to only the set of tools that you are using. Of course, this is a micro optimization, but it makes maintenance easy. The developer will have a better understanding of how an action is used. That's why by default I use AsController trait. Experience say most of the actions will be AsController. A few tips from my own experience. Do not use action validation. It is better to move validation to form request. This will reduce code and allow for proper reuse of form requests. Take a look at function run if, run unless, dispatch if, dispatch unless. They reduce the cognitive complexity of the code, and I have a video about cognitive complexity, please take a look. Also, inside package exists with attribute trait. From my personal experience, attribute makes actions dirty and much more complex. Maybe it's my own experience, please take a look, but if not, I strongly recommended use PHP 8 named parameters. It makes code much more readable. And my personal pain, root registration do not work from action class. Yes, in documentation you can see public static function routes router and router, but unfortunately cache of these routes not work. Simple check, add some route, test, make PHP artisan route cache command and remove route from action file. And we got undefined page 404, sorry, cache not work. And of course it is a static method do not work in Laravel Octane, so unfortunately we should register as normal controller routes. So I highly recommend action in Laravel. Please try if you can and let me know if you don't like it. Thank you.